Hey guys, this is Axeman and we are back in naval action, bringing you another history video again today. This time talking about the Renommée. Got quite a lot to talk about here in this video, so we're just going to dive straight in. The Renommée is perhaps the most visually striking ship of all in naval action, distinct in both shape, colour scheme and decoration. Fast and manoeuvrable, she makes an excellent vessel for captains who are skilled enough to take advantage of her sailing characteristics. She mounts a total of 32 guns, 26 on the gun deck, 4 on the weather deck and 2 stern chasers. The gun deck either mounting 9-pound medium or long cannons or 32-pound carronades, and the weather deck and chasers mounting either 6-pound medium or long cannons or 18-pound carronades. She has a cargo capacity of 190, requires a crew of 240 and has a battle rating of 110. A lot of people tend to move on to the Cerberus after the Snow and Mercury, etc. However, I waited until I could crew the Reno, purely because the Cerberus is like sailing a giant fridge in comparison. If you can get your hands on an exceptional Reno with speed upgrades, you'll find you'll be quicker than almost any other ship. When I sailed mine with my clan, I'd always be the first to catch enemy traders, leaving the other surprises, Serbs, Snows and frigates in my wake. Her unique, and to me, sublime shape allows her to ricochet a lot of shots off her hull, making her feel a lot more durable than she is, and clever captains will use this to their advantage in a fight. However, while she may be a lightning quick frigate in naval action, in reality she was chased down by a 74-gun third rate, which should have been a lot slower, but we'll get to that in a minute. The Renommée was a Galathea class frigate, designed and built by the French in 1794. The French built 6 frigates of the Galathea class, one of which was wrecked when she grounded, and the other 5 were captured by the British Royal Navy. The Renommée was obviously among them. As mentioned before, the Renommée was built in 1794, and during construction she was originally to be named Panthère, but the name was later changed to République Française upon her launch, and then changed again to Républicain Français, as a massive 120-gun first-rate ship of the line was to be named République Française. She cruised the Atlantic off the French port of Brest under Lieutenant Francois Pitot for a year, before in May 1795 she was renamed finally to Renommée, the name she would carry until her dismantling in 1810. In 1796 she was ordered to the Caribbean to patrol off the coast of Puerto Rico. On the 12th of June of that year, whilst on patrol, she sighted a strange vessel and gave chase. At around 6 p.m, the strange ship fired a shot and the Renommée hoisted her colours. Immediately after, the other ship hoisted the British colours and gave chase to the Renommée, whom by now had realised that the strange ship was in fact a 74-gun ship of the line, the HMS Alfred. I was unable to find any evidence as to why the Renommée decided to try and chase down such a large vessel in the first place, but the only conclusion I can think of is that she thought the large vessel was perhaps an Indiaman trader, which bore some visual similarities to large ships of the line. The Renommée would be no match to a big British 74, so she did the only thing she could. She came about and tried to flee. HMS Alfred also came about, and the chase was on. Now those of us that know a little about ships, and even those whose knowledge comes from playing naval action, would confidently assume that a light frigate built by the French, who were known for building fast ships, would comfortably outrun a big, clumsy, 2-decked third rate. But on this occasion, we'd be sadly mistaken. The Renommée could not escape. Even after pitching anchors and some of her guns overboard to try and gain some extra speed, she still could not escape the Alfred. The fact was likely that the Renommée got a little too close to the Alfred before realising that she was a British ship of war. It was also likely that the British ship was better handled by the British crew, but however it happened, the Alfred caught the Reno, fired a broadside which holed the Reno beneath the waterline and soaked her ammunition and gunpowder. A second broadside, and the French hauled down their colours and surrendered. The HMS Alfred was captained by a man named Thomas Drury. The letter he sent to the Admiralty back in London was published in the London Gazette in September 1796, and I have included it here so we have an actual written account of the capture of the Reno. While reading the letter, I shall display a painting by Derek Gardner depicting the surrender of the Renommée to the Alfred. The letter goes thus. I have the honour to acquaint you, for the information of my Lords Commissioners of the Admiralty, that, pursuant to orders from Rear Admiral Harvey, which I received on the 9th instant, at anchor off Mary Gallant by His Majesty's sloop Thorn, to proceed immediately to Jamaica, I lost no time in getting underway. On the Wednesday following at 8 o'clock in the morning, I had the good fortune to fall in with the French national frigate La Renommée, of 44 guns and 320 men, commanded by Citizen Pitot, which I came up with and captured the next morning, just before daybreak, the east end of Santo Domingo, bearing northeast 30 leagues. She is a very fine frigate, only 2 years old, and in every respect fit for His Majesty's service. In justice to the officers and company of His Majesty's ship under my command, particularly my first lieutenant, Mr. John Richards, I cannot help expressing my entire approbation of their steady behaviour, which I am confident would have been very conspicuous had she been a ship of equal force. Neither can I omit mentioning the very able assistances I received from Captain Winthorpe of His Majesty's sloop Albacore, who was on board as a passenger to join his sloop. While the letter doesn't provide exact details of the battle, it is still interesting to read, especially the part about the frigate being of 44 guns and 320 men, which can only have been exaggeration. Nevertheless, the Renommée was captured and taken into British service, commissioned in Jamaica as HMS Renommée under command of Captain Robert Rolls. While on station in Jamaica, she was involved in numerous captures of enemy vessels, including one while in the company of the infamous HMS Hermione, whose crew effected a vicious mutiny against her captain and senior officers a mere 2 weeks later. The Renommée then sailed bound for England and arrived in Portsmouth on the 2nd of August 1799. She was paid off after Captain William Sanderson took command in the same month. Between January and March 1800, the Renommée was refitted for use as a troopship and commissioned by James Nasmyth Marshall, who was later replaced by Commander Peter M. Keller. Between March and September in 1801, the Renommée participated in the famous Egyptian campaigns, where her crew and officers qualified for the Clasp of Egypt campaign medals. The Renommée was again paid off after this campaign. Between September 1804 and January 1805, she was repaired and refitted again, this time returning to service as a 38-gun frigate. She was commissioned by Captain Sir Thomas Livingston and sailed for service in the Mediterranean. Whilst serving in the Mediterranean as part of Vice Admiral Lord Cuthbert Collingwood's fleet, she participated in the capture of numerous ships, including a Spanish brig of war, the Vigilante. Again, we have letters detailing the events of the capture, both from the Admiral himself, writing to the Admiralty, who then includes the letter that Captain Livingstone addressed to him. They are as follows, printed in the London Gazette. Copy of a letter from Vice Admiral Lord Collingwood. Commander-in-Chief of His Majesty's ships and vessels in the Mediterranean, to William Marsden, Esquire, dated on board His Majesty's ship Queen, off Cadiz, the 19th of April, 1806. Sir, I have the satisfaction to acquaint you, for the Lords Commissioners of the Admiralty, that His Majesty's ship, the Renommée, Captain Sir Thomas Livingstone, one of the ships stationed off Cartagena for the purpose of watching the enemy squadron, on the 4th instant captured the Spanish brig of war, the Vigilante, for the particulars of which I refer you, sir, to the enclosed copy of Captain Sir Thomas Livingstone's letter. The letter from Captain Livingstone to Collingwood is as follows. His Majesty's ship Renommée at anchor, Europa Point, west-northwest 1 mile, 5th of April 1806. My Lord, I informed your Lordship by the Nautilus that on the 3rd instant 2 Spanish ships of the line, a frigate and a brig, came out of the port of Cartagena, having under their protection a few small coasters, and that the ships of the line and frigate chased us to the southward, while the brig and convoy steered along the shore to the westward, the wind being northeasterly. Finding that the Renommée had left the Spanish ships a great distance astern, I made sail as soon as it was dark for Cape de Gat, in the hope of cutting off the brig, and in this I was not disappointed, for at 2 a.m. on the 4th instant we saw the brig anchor under Fort Calcretes, distant from it about 2 cables lengths. 2 cables lengths would be roughly a quarter of a mile. I was prevented by baffling winds from getting up to her for 3/4 of an hour, but when we did get up, her fire was soon silenced, and she was in our possession at 3:30. The batteries on the shore began to fire as soon as we were within reach, and continued doing it till we were out of their range. There were 2 gunboats with the brig that fired a few shot at first, but they soon ceased, and I believe ran on the beach. The brig was in the act of warping on the shore when we commenced firing, but fortunately we cut the warp, and thereby prevented her getting on shore. I am happy to say, in this affair, we sustained little or no damage, and had only 2 men wounded. The brig proved to be the Vigilante, belonging to His Catholic Majesty, commanded by Teniente de Navio Don Josef Julian, mounted 18 guns, viz. 12 12-pounders, long guns, and 6 24-pounders, shorter, with a crew of 109 men, and is well calculated for His Majesty's service. She had 1 man killed and 3 wounded in the fray. Her mainmast went overboard soon after we took possession, and the foremast was nearly sharing in the same fate. I therefore took her in tow and brought up for this anchorage. Well, I arrived this day, and was the more induced to take this measure, as, upon our appearance off Cape de Gat, all the beacons towards Cartagena were fired, and I did not know how near the ships which had chased us the day before might be. I hope, therefore, your lordship will approve of my having so done. I have reason to be well satisfied with my officers and crew on this occasion. Their steady and well-directed fire did them great credit. As soon as the prisoners are landed, I shall return to my station. I have the honour to be Thomas Livingstone, to the Right Honourable Lord Collingwood. The Renommée and her crew continued to serve, and made numerous small captures in cutting out expeditions, oftentimes under the fire of shore batteries. Her final capture was an American schooner, Henrietta, alongside the HMS Grasshopper on the 12th of November 1807. She was later decommissioned and broken up at Deptford in 1810. The Renommée had a fairly distinguished career and went on to achieve a lot in the Royal Navy. The various letters about her from Captains Thomas Drury and Thomas Livingstone, and even by the great Vice Admiral Collingwood himself, give us a wonderful bit of insight into her world and activities. And that in a nutshell is the Renommée. She was an interesting ship. The letters were really interesting to look up and read, and I was quite happy to include them in this video, so I hope you liked that little touch as well. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.